Harihi Om. Sahana Bhavatu. Sahana Bhunaktu. Sahaviryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai. Maybe somebody can sit over there so we can we need some mirror here so we can look in the mirror. Okay. We continue with Laghu Bhagavatamrita, text 50 and 51. Are you there? 50, 51.
What is the page? 13?
Yeah, here it says
37.
Here it says 39, but you guys have different.
I'm thinking maybe other people will come in. I should leave it from.
No.
Thank you. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
The Roman law has a principle: whoever is first by time, he is first by right. Okay. Text 50-51. Thus, because he is beyond the gunas, this is Vishnu, it is said that the best results arise from Vishnu, who is Sattva Tanu. Verse 47. Iti ato vihita shastre tad bhakter eva nityata. Because of this, according to the scriptures, one should always perform bhakti to Vishnu alone. Because Vishnu can grant liberation and even higher things than liberation, prema. But the demigods, they cannot. Here we are talking about Shiva and Brahma in the case when they are jivas. If they are Vishnu, then obviously they can also grant liberation. But we will read a little later that even when Brahma and Shiva, they are Vishnu, they are still worshipping Vishnu. Iti yata indicates because of the supremacy of Vishnu, who is beyond the gunas, as just described. Hare Krishna. It should always be performed because not doing so is a loss. Footnote: in common language, nitya means regular or constant. But in the technical context of sacrifice and service, it means obligatory. When not doing something will lead to loss, that activity is called nitya. Because Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Person, his devotional service is, in this sense, nitya. The results of this sacrifice are given in the commentary to the next verse. So, there are two types of duties, nitya and naimitika, and also kamya. So, nitya means regular or daily duties. For example, Sandhya Vandana is a nitya duty. Every day you're supposed to perform Sandhya Vandana. Reading Bhagavatam, studying Shastra also. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shlokem Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtam. Shrinotam Svakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vidyanta Stohya Bhadrani Vidunati Suchitsatam. By regular reading Bhagavatam, then everything inauspicious from the heart becomes purified. So this is nitya, regular duties. And here it is stated that it means obligatory and it means If you don't perform it every day, then there is a loss. So what is the loss if you don't read Bhagavatam every day? It's a great loss, because you will inevitably, if you're not, because we are dependent, we have to take shelter somewhere. If you are not taking actively shelter in the spiritual potency, you will be taking shelter in the material, because we cannot be independent. We are not independent. And we didn't spend 2 hours reading Bhagavatam today. That means we spent 2 hours spacing out. Yes?
If I have to spend these 2 hours for my work, for example.
Yes, this is also indirect devotional service, because your work is connected to Krishna, because you are a devotee, and in order to maintain your lifestyle as a devotee, you need some money. So in this way, you connect your job to Krishna. So, but still, we have to perform also direct devotional activities, the 5 most potent forms of bhakti. Therefore, we're supposed to find time during the day to study. Nitya, also brushing your teeth, it's also nitya. It's also a religious duty. It's not direct devotional service, but can be connected to Krishna easily. It's part of the sadhana, because the body, especially if you're worshipping the deities, the body should be clean, and it's easy to connect these things with Krishna, taking shower, etc., putting on clean clothes. So this is nitya, every day, daily, or obligatory duties. And naimitika means occasional. For example, once in a year, you have to perform Shraddha, for example, in the Vedic culture. Every year, the pious followers of Sanatana Dharma, they perform this ceremony. They offer bhoga to Vishnu on the behalf of their ancestors. So this is example of naimitika. And also there is kamya. Kamya means that it is neither nitya nor naimitika. It is born out of your specific desire. You want to attain certain fruitive result. You want to go to heaven, for example, and then there are certain sacrifices you have to perform. They're not obligatory, but if you want to attain this goal, you have to perform. So here, nitya means obligatory. When we don't do something connected to Krishna, then this will be a loss. And the greatest loss is to forget about Krishna. This is the greatest loss. Okay. Text 52. Thus Padma Purana says, one should always remember Vishnu and never forget him. All rules and prohibitions are the servants of these 2 principles. Always remember Vishnu means we engaged in positive devotional service. We are hearing about the Lord, chanting, we are worshipping the Lord, we are offering prayers, cleaning the temple, etc. So these direct devotional activities, they grant us, they give us spiritual taste, which is the goal of our practice. And never forget Krishna means we don't engage ourselves in sinful activities which make us to forget Krishna. Because this is the problem with sinful activities. It's not so much, not at all. The point is not that Krishna is sharp moralist and he doesn't approve that you do such and such bad things. The thing is that it forces us, all these sinful activities, they force us to forget Krishna. And this is the real problem. And also never forget Krishna means when we perform our duties, for example, going to, like Prabhuji, you're saying about your job, then while performing this indirect service, we should also try to connect it with Krishna, so that we don't forget Krishna. Therefore, in Bhagavatam, it is in the Chaturshloki, the last Chaturshloki, it says, Eta vateva jigyasyam tatva jigyasunatpanaha anvaya vyatirekabhyam yat sat sarvatra sarvada. One should continue to search for the absolute truth with both direct and indirect methods. Anvaya direct, vyatireka, indirect ways. So this means always remember Vishnu, never forget him. So all rules and prohibitions are the servants of these two principles.
So does it mean that the pious activities automatically makes us remember Krishna?
No, but they are easier to connect with bhakti than the impious activities. Therefore, piety is recommended. For example, if somebody is very regulated, he wakes up early, he's vegetarian, he's clean in his habits, he has some religious inclination, all this pious sattvic lifestyle, it's easier to connect with Krishna. Basically, he just has to add Krishna to this already sattvic lifestyle. But if he's not regulated, if he's meat eater, he has bad habits, then it's a lot of work. And some people are not even that, they are just inactive. It's one thing that somebody is in rajas and he's sinful, but at least he's moving somewhere. So now it's a matter of just redirecting his movement. But if he's not moving at all, tamas, then you first have to motivate him to be alive, and then you have to try to guide him to the proper activities. So, but it's not.
So sattvic person, he's already performing the right activities. Just he's lacking the knowledge to connect.
He'll have we can say, the proper lifestyle of. He'll have similar lifestyle to a devotee, similar. Like now in India, there are so many people who are also just like the devotees. They're getting up early, they perform their puja, taking shower, doing some tapasya, some pranayama, chanting mantras, but they're not devotees. Smartas are like this, and other people. And even they worship Vishnu, but they worship Vishnu as the impersonal Brahman. This is their tradition. In their family line, we worship Vishnu, but Vishnu ultimately is Nirakara Brahman. So they're not Vaishnavas, but they follow basically the same daily schedule as we follow. And for these people, if they change if they understand, they'll become very good devotees. It will be easy for them. For us, it's not so easy, because we have these sanskaras from rajas and tamas. It's more difficult, right? One friend was telling me how they were somewhere in LA, and they were chanting in the morning, early, after Mangalarti, and this devotee, he told the other devotees, I've been in LA before. No, in San Francisco, anyway, one of these places in California. I've been here before. I never felt so cold here in the morning. And the other devotees, they laughed at him and they told him, because he was never up before 9 o'clock. That's why he never felt cold. So with this type of samskaras, it takes some time to adjust to the new lifestyle. But once we acquire a little bit taste, then it's easy. Okay, text 53. In the Padma Purana, it is also said, for bewildering the living entities of the universe, let the Puranas and other scriptures speak until the end of the Kalpa about their various, quote, supreme devatas. However, in conclusion, Lord Vishnu alone is discerned in all the scriptures and in all conduct through harmonizing all statements with intelligence. Padma Purana. But one cannot conclude that Vishnu is supreme because there is a variety of opinions expressed in various Puranas uttered by Vyasa, where Brahma and Shiva are also declared to be supreme. But the supremacy of Vishnu is proved by the above mentioned scriptures. For bewilderment of the universe composed of moving entities such as men and devatas, and non-moving entities such as the presiding deities of mountains. Let the Puranas and other scriptures proclaim devatas such as Brahma and Shiva to be supreme till the end of the Kalpa. However, since there is a conclusion reached by the Brahma Sutras and its commentary in the form of the Bhagavatam, in which all scriptures are considered and finally harmonized through discrimination by use of direct and indirect meanings of the words, the form of Vishnu, composed of unobstructed knowledge and bliss, is determined to be supreme. So here, the doubt is, you are proclaiming Vishnu to be supreme, but in other Puranas, there are different statements proclaiming Shiva or Indra or Brahma to be supreme. And the answer is, because you always have scriptures and you have the commentary or the essence of the scripture. For example, you have a body of knowledge called Hare Krishna, called the Vedas, and philosophical conclusion of the Vedas is called Vedanta, right? Veda Anta, the end of knowledge. And Vedanta refers to the Upanishads. And then the Upanishads, they're systematized, they're summarized in the Vedanta Sutra. So Vedanta Sutra gives the meaning of the Upanishads, and then Vedanta Sutra is commented in Srimad Bhagavatam. So there is always the body of knowledge, and then there is the essence, and then there is the essence of the essence, and then we have Bhagavad Gita, which is called Gita Upanishad also. The conclusion of all the Upanishads is there, and inside Bhagavad Gita there are 3 groups of chapters, and the middle chapters are the most confidential knowledge, and inside these middle chapters you have 9 and 10 chapters, and then there are 4 verses from 10th chapter which are the essence of the essence of the essence. So by determining the meaning of this essence and by harmonizing through intelligence the statements of all the scriptures, the acharyas, they came to the conclusion that Vishnu is supreme. So they take in account all other statements and they explain all these statements in a logical way. They don't ignore statements which seemingly oppose the supremacy of Vishnu. No, they explain these statements in a proper way. For example, talking here about the Puranas, there are different Puranas meant for people in different modes, and there are sattvic, so-called sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic Puranas. Of course, the Puranas are always transcendental, but they are meant for people in different modes. And in order to gradually uplift these people, in some Puranas there are recommendations of worship to worship some devotees. Although ultimately, also, just like Prithu Maharaj was performing sacrifices, worshipping different demigods, he understood all the time that the demigods are just different limbs of the body of the Lord. Okay, so this is very important. This is how we, reconcile the scriptures.
So in what way would it make a difference if there would just be like all the scriptures would kind of point towards Vishnu?
They are.
No, yeah, but like there wouldn't be like this intermediate peaks, or how to say.
Then people who are not ready to worship Vishnu, that means people who are not in the mode of goodness, who are not on this level, Yesham Tvam Bhagatapapam Jananam Punya Karmanam Tedvam Vamoha Nirmita Bhajantamam Dridavata, who did not terminate all their impious activities and they don't perform only pious activities, and therefore they have the Dridhavrata, the firm determination to worship Vishnu alone. So these people, they'll just reject the Vedas.
Okay, so they wouldn't even like try to
Yes.
do anything.
And better to try to catch all these people and somehow accommodate them and gradually purify them over many lifetimes maybe. But it's better than just to alienate them, because just like sometimes we do, immature devotees, when newcomers come, we just tell them, you have to follow the 4 regulative principles, you have to get up early, take cold shower, etc. We try to, I don't know, to boast with our sadhana, which is not usually very good idea with new people. Prabhupada didn't do that. Prabhupada just engaged people in chanting, and then gradually he introduced other things. So this is why. Okay? Can speak a lot about this, but I think it's clear. Text 54. Thus in the first canto it is said, those who are serious about liberation are certainly non-envious, and they respect all. Yet they reject the horrible and ghastly forms of the demigods and worship only the all-blissful forms of Lord Vishnu and his plenary portions. Since Vishnu is supreme, he alone should be worshipped. That is indicated in this verse. Because Brahma, Rudra and others have forms of Rajas and Tamas, they should be rejected. And because Vishnu's expansions have forms of Sattva, they should be accepted. So here we're talking about Brahma and Rudra when they're jivas, because then they would have some connection with the gunas. Not when they are Vishnu. Those interested in liberation should not hate the devatas. Thus it is said, Vishnu, the Lord of all lords, of devatas, should always be worshipped, but one should never disrespect Brahma, Rudra and others.
So someone may say, why we have to worship Vishnu exclusively? What is the problem to worship Vishnu and know that Vishnu is the supreme, but at the same time worship someone else who will help you in some
practical affairs.
Is there a problem, and why?
Yes and no. There is a problem in a sense that then we cannot develop. First of all, that means that we don't have exclusive faith in the Lord. In Ramayana, there was a statement that when we worship Vishnu, we should not have plan B in our mind. This is considered first-class worship. And so just like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains that the worshippers of the demigods, they are alpa medasa. They have very meager intelligence because they don't know where food should be supplied. The food should be given to Vishnu, to the stomach, but they think that the food should be given to the ears, the eyes. So this is not, Prabhupada uses the word, this is not very sanguine. So it's less intelligent, also betrays some very, Krishna calls them kamaistai. They are krita jnana. They are surrendering to the demigods because they are bewildered, they are maddened by lust. And therefore they think that for certain purposes, I better worship the demigods. They will fulfill my lusty desires quicker and more efficient way than Vishnu. Because Vishnu is, sometimes he fulfills the desires, sometimes he's very slow. He considers what is for my ultimate benefit, but I don't want my ultimate benefit. I want right now to enjoy, and therefore the demigods are better. So there are several problems. Just like in personal relationships between people. Also, we like to have friends who are completely dedicated to the relationship, or just in the family life. What will happen if the husband is very attached to the wife, but he's also attached to some other woman? This will not work, right? Therefore, they take a vow of chastity, of being faithful. Otherwise, the relationship doesn't work properly. May actually end in complete separation. Is this, what would you say to this?
Yeah, I was also thinking that it's a question of faith. Like in Bhagavad Gita we have this verse from 5th chapter. Krishna is saying that one should put his mind, his intelligence, his
Tadatmanas tadbuddhayo tatashriya.
And his refuge also.
Yeah, the shelter.
All these things should be in Krishna, not
just
one of them.
Yeah, the intelligence is in Krishna, but the mind is in Maya. I understand I should worship Krishna, but maybe a little later. No.
And also it's maybe a question of philosophical understanding, like as you said. What is the best way to satisfy the demigods? By separately going to the demigods or by going to Krishna?
We will read a little later about this. Yes?
This idea that you're bringing up, it's bona fide, it's called polytheism, worshipping many gods. But this whole idea is the essence of the 5th canto. In all of the universe, except for us right here on earth, the entirety of every place in the universe deals in this idea of polytheism. It's called the path of Pravritti Marg. But here we have teachers called Narad Muni, he's the main teacher in Bharatbhasha, and Vyasadeva, his student. So they teach the path of Nivritti Marg. And all of their teachings head towards Vishnu and then Krishna, you know. So that's the whole difference. In the entirety of the whole universe, there's always this path of Pravritti. It's only here we have this idea of Vishnu. So they don't have the same Bhagavatam like ours, which tells them to worship Vishnu. They worship, for instance, on Plakshadweep, they worship the sun god in order to attain the sun planet. But they know that Narayan's in the sun, but they worship in order to attain the sun god, the sun planet, sorry. And in Shalmali Dweep, they'll worship the moon god in order to attain the moon planet. You know. So everywhere they do this. Also in India, they do this polytheism to get some different rewards. You know. So it's bona fide, but it's not the path taught by Vyasadeva.
It's not our path. You know.
This is the whole point of the 5th canto, what Vyasadeva's doing in it. He's taking you over the whole universe without going anywhere by staying here.
Yeah.
It's very special for that reason.
Thank you. Okay. Here. Yeah, so we should not disrespect the devatas. Sometimes the mentality of the neophyte, often the mentality of the neophyte is to think that his method of worship is the only proper way, at the expense of all others. So the demigod worshippers think this is the supreme, my worshipable deity is the supreme, and they don't see the bigger picture because they are bewildered by very strong material desires. And they think all others are in Maya. And the Vaishnavas, no, they don't reject anything. Of course, we reject impersonalism, Mayavada. We reject atheism. But in general, we don't just reject things, we know the proper place of everything. Therefore, in Bhagavatam is very accommodating. People want to worship Brahman. Bhagavatam says that Brahman is, and also Bhagavad Gita, Brahmanohi Pratishta Aham, Vadanti Tat Tattvavidas, these different verses which accommodate the worshippers of Brahman. And people want to worship Paramatma, different aspects of the world. The Bhagavatam says that this is just one non-dual truth which appears to the different worshippers in different way according to their sadhana. If they follow impersonal sadhana, it will appear as formless, light. If they worship according to yoga, it will appear as the super soul. And if they worship according to bhakti, it will appear as Bhagavan. But it is Bhagavan. It's not different. It's not three different entities. So the Bhagavad philosophy is simultaneously very extremely accommodating, or people want to worship the universal form. Also, Bhagavatam acknowledges this. Although Bhagavatam says this is for neophytes, it is kind of, it's form of the Lord, but it is material. But it is bona fide, as Prabhupada was saying. It is bona fide, but it is not the highest. So at the same time, it is very accommodating, and at the same time, the final goal is very clearly defined, and we are all urged to and encouraged to perform pure devotional service. So it's very unique. I don't think any other spiritual tradition has this. Usually people just reject things which are different from their tradition. If there is some difference in ritual, in philosophical understanding, they'll just toss you aside and they'll say you are on the wrong path. You don't worship the same God as we are. Okay, text 55. In the above verse, the word Kala indicates the Svamsha forms of Vishnu. Svamsha indicates forms such as Matsya and Kurma, who are equal to the Swayamrupa Krishna because they have forms which are unobstructed knowledge and bliss. Thus Brahma, Shiva and other devatas are shown to be less than all Svamsha forms of Vishnu. So here is the thing. So all the forms of the Lord are higher than all the demigods because they are the Lord. The intention here is to show that Brahma, Rudra and others should also worship Vishnu because Vishnu has a form of knowledge and bliss which is not at all covered. The forms of Brahma, Shiva and other devatas are clearly shown to be less than the Svamsha forms of Vishnu such as Matsya and Kurma. And this is also in 5th canto, right? They're worshipping Matsya, Kurma, in different Jambudvip.
This is Jambudvip,
yeah.
the deities.
I worship Nrsimhadev.
Chapter 18.
Yeah. And they are the prayers of different residents of Jambudvip.
Yeah.
Prahlad Maharaj prayers are there to Nrsimhadev. Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya Namaste Tejasaya. Thus, in the 1st canto, it is also said, who can be worthy of the name of the Supreme Lord but the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna? Brahma collects the water emanating from the nails of his feet in order to award it to Lord Shiva as a worshipful welcome. This very water, the Ganges, is purifying the whole universe, including Lord Shiva. Even if Brahma and Shiva are actually the Supreme Lord in some kalpas, they worship the pure sattva form of Vishnu in order to, this is supposed to be to teach the devatas, as if they were pure sattva forms which had been covered by rajas and tamas. If they are jivas, then this goes without saying. So when Brahma and Shiva are Vishnu, they still worship Vishnu to teach, to give a good example. And if they are not Vishnu, they're the jivas, then of course they'll worship Vishnu. Then it goes without saying. That is made clear in this verse. The water touching the feet of Mukunda purifies the world, along with Shiva, Sa Isham. Other than Mukunda, who should be designated as Bhagavan? No one else. Bhagavan, who possesses all 6 Aishwaryas completely, should be served by all others, since he is served even by Brahma and Shiva. So the greatest demigods serve him. That means we should also serve him, because we are much less.
There is such a verse in Chaitanya Ishvara Krishna.
Yes.
Only Krishna is Ishvara, the Lord, and everyone else is servant.
And Ishvara, Krishna, he is servant of his devotees. So go figure how this works.
Also in Chaitanya it is mentioned, Mahaprabhu explains that Krishna is having a Prabhu Gyan. He knows that he is Supreme Personality, and no others, including the jivas in his incarnation, they have Bhakta Abhiman, they are devotees towards Krishna. They accept themselves as devotees.
And this knowledge that he is the Lord, Krishna, is his problem, because he wants to experience the feeling of the rasa of the devotee, and therefore he has to take the form of Lord Chaitanya. So our problem is that we are not God. We want to be the Ishvara, the controller and the enjoyer. God's problem is that he wants to be the servant because he understands that this is higher rasa. Again, it's really inconceivable. No other theology has these intricacies and all this. It's when you reach to some conclusion, then it's always no. This is not the ultimate conclusion. There is something higher. Okay, Krishna is no. Radharani is higher than Krishna. The devotee is higher.
In the Rajasura sacrifice, Madri's son said that Krishna should be worshipped first, and there was a big fight with Shishupal.
And other people. Yeah.
That's good. Because Narad was there and Shiva was there and all that.
Yeah.
Vyasadeva was there.
Yeah. And then Bhishma defended Krishna as the most worthy of the first worship. And then this Shishupal, I think, or one of these guys.
Shishupal, yeah.
Shishupal, they turned against Bhishma. He said, look at this person. He's a Kshatriya and he's a Brahmachari at the same time. That means he's either impotent or he's mad. There is no other possibility. It's one of these two. Yeah. Okay. And in the Mahavaraha Purana it is said, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha and other avatars are equal to Vishnu and not different from him. Brahma and other below him are not equal to Vishnu. However, the Chit Shakti of the Lord is different and non-different from him. By their very natures, Brahma and others are not equal to Vishnu. This refers to the kalpas where jivas take the role of Brahma and Shiva. Ramachandra Kaviraj, the great disciple of Srinivasacharya and friend of Narottam Das Thakur, has written. This is from Baladevi Vibhushan's commentary. Okay? Prahlada, Dhruva, Vibhishana, Bali, Vyasa, Ambarisha and others, by worshipping Vishnu. Yeah, this is the point I wanted to make when you said that by worshipping the devatas are not really pleased with those who worship them directly. They're more pleased when their devotees worship Krishna. Others such as Ravana, Bana, the worshippers of Vishnu became dear to Brahma and Shiva. Others such as Ravana, Bana, Paundraka, Vrika and the demon Krauncha, who are devotees of Brahma and Shiva, are not dear to Brahma and Shiva and are not dear to Vishnu. So if you worship the Vishnu, then you are dear to Vishnu and to the demigods. If you worship the demigods, then nobody likes you. Neither Vishnu, neither Shiva, neither Brahma. They're just enemies of the world. So this is like you declare the enemy of the state. In the medieval age, if somebody is declared the enemy of the state, anybody can kill you, and he won't be punished, but they will give him even some award. You may consider that Shiva is a follower of Vishnu, or Vishnu is a follower of Shiva, or you may consider all the three equal. But by looking at the type of people who become followers of Shiva and Brahma, we offer our respects with our heads to the servants of Vishnu and take shelter of them. So by comparing who are the worshippers of the demigods and who are the worshippers of Vishnu, it's kind of clear. Worshippers of, usually the Mayavadis worship Shiva, and sometimes they worship Vishnu, but it's not really worship of Vishnu. Demons usually worship Shiva, sometimes Brahma. So, this is Ramachandra Kaviraja's point.
There's a story. There's a story of one worshipper of Shiva. He was worshipping Shiva very enthusiastically and honestly, and Shiva was pleased with him, and he appeared to him and told him, okay, what do you want? I'm very pleased with you, I will give you anything. And it seems that this man was very intelligent. He told him, I want the one thing that you cherish the most.
Hare Krishna.
And Shiva turned him into Krishna, but
Hare
he
Krishna.
gave him prema, he gave him
Hare
bhakti.
Krishna.
So Shiva lost a devotee,
Oh.
but he gave him the opportunity to worship the Supreme Personality.
Very, very nice. Thank you. Text 59. In the previous verse, Prakriti refers to the Lord Chit Shakti. Because it is different and non-different from the Lord, it is called Sama Sama. Footnote. This concept of difference and non-difference is just another name for what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called Achintya Beda Beda, or what Baladev Vidibhushan here calls Vishesha. Sri Baladeva expands on this topic at length in his book, Siddhanta Ratna. So, Vishesha, Achintya Beda Beda Tattva, Sama, Sama, the same thing. In this verse, the word Prakriti is defined because it was stated that Shiva and Brahma, they are lower than Vishnu. And what was the other thing? You remember? Different than Vishnu, and because they are jivas, but then his Chit Shakti is simultaneously different and non-different. So this is the discussion here. Anyway. Yeah, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha and other avatars are equal to Vishnu and non-different from him. Brahma and others below him are not equal to Vishnu. However, the Chit Shakti of the Lord is different and non-different from him. So this is the discussion now of the Shakti of the Lord. Prakriti in the context refers to the Chit Shakti, the Svarupa Shakti of the Lord. It is described in the Shruti with Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate Svabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. The Lord has many spiritual energies, such as the energy of Jnana, Bala and Kriya. Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So here we have a long footnote. These three energies are described in more detail in Chaitanya Charitamrita purport. Krishna has unlimited potencies, out of which three are chief: willpower, Ichcha Shakti, this is the power of desire. The Lord's desires they become reality automatically. The power of knowledge, Bala or Jnana Shakti, and the creative energy, Kriya Shakti. The predominator of the willing potency is Lord Krishna. For by his supreme will, everything comes into existence. So Krishna himself, he is the head of the Ichcha Shakti, the desire potency. And then the power of knowledge. In willing, there is a need for knowledge, because if you want something, then you need to have knowledge how to accomplish this thing. So this, and that knowledge is expressed through Vasudeva. There is no possibility of creation without thinking, feeling, willing, knowledge and activity. The combination of the supreme will, knowledge and action brings about the cosmic manifestation. So anything that we do requires these elements. First we have to be motivated, we want something, then we have the knowledge, expertise how to attain it, and then we need to endeavor to do it. So this is again Sambandha Vidya Prayojana. Lord Sankarshan is Lord Balaram. Being the predominator of the creative energy, he creates both the material and the spiritual world. So Sankarshan is the creative, Kriya Shakti. That original Sankarshan, Lord Balaram, is the cause of both the material and the spiritual creation. He is the predominating deity of egotism, and by the will of Krishna and the power of the spiritual energy, he creates the spiritual world, which consists of the planet Goloka Vrindavana and the Vaikuntha planets. Although there is no question of creation as far as the spiritual world is concerned, the spiritual world is nonetheless manifested by the supreme will of Sankarshan. The spiritual world is the abode of the pastimes of the eternal spiritual energy. By the agency of the material energy, the same Lord Sankarshan creates all the universes. So we are talking about the Purusha avatars and their expansions of Sankarshan. They create the universe, Mahavishnu, etc. The dual material energy, known in modern language as nature, is not the cause of the material universe. Without the Supreme Personality of Godhead's energy, dual matter cannot create the cosmic manifestation. Its power does not arise from the material energy itself, but it's endowed by Sankarshan. Dual matter alone cannot create anything. The material energy produces the creation by the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Iron itself has no power to burn, but when iron is placed in fire, it is empowered to burn. Balaram and Krishna are the original, efficient and material causes of the material world. So there are four causes. There are the material cause, the efficient cause, the formal cause, and the final cause. So material cause, let's say we have a building, a house, the material cause will be the ingredients. All the bricks, cement, glass, etc. So then efficient cause means somebody put these ingredients together. These are then this will be the people who build the house, the workers, and the engineers, they put this together. And then there is formal cause. Formal cause means the house has certain form, and this form is designed by somebody, the architect. And then there is the final cause, that means the nature or the dharma, the purpose of the house. And this is decided by the owner, the guy who commissioned the house. So these are the four causes. And in Sanskrit, they have terms also. Upadana Karana, Nimitta, I forgot these terms. But here, the efficient cause, so the material cause is Krishna, and the Balaram is the efficient cause because he manifests everything. And many people think that the material cause is the material nature, but as we heard, material nature doesn't function independently. Okay, as Mahavishnu and ultimately Krishna is all these four causes, because he gives the ingredients, his expansion, Balaram, is the efficient cause. Then his original spiritual form is the form behind all forms, because Krishna has a form, therefore there are forms also here. So he's the formal cause, and he is also the ultimate final cause, because what was the verse?
Chapter 18, Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
5 causes of action.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna is the supreme sanctioner.
Okay, this one too. I was referring to Bhagavatam, Dharmam to Sakshat Bhagavatamrita, because he gives the Dharma. He's the origin of the purpose. He decides what is the purpose of this universe. So it comes back to him. So he's also the final cause. But yeah, also what you say. As Mahavishnu and the material energy, they enter into the material elements and create the diversities by multi-energies. Thus they are the cause of all causes. In Chaitanya Shikshamrita, Bhaktivinoda Thakur refers to these three energies as the prabhavas, or influential components of the internal potency. And they are illustrated below. You can see them, prabhavas. Icha Shakti, power of will, controlled by Krishna. Jnana Shakti, power of knowledge, controlled by Vasudev. Kriya Shakti, creative energy, Baladev. Desire, expertise, knowledge, and application of knowledge. Sambandha, Abhidaya, Prayojana.
Can we make some connection between these three energies and what we have in the material world, like the three gunas, or it doesn't work?
Yeah. Hladini, Sandini, Samvit, they are reflected in the material world as the three gunas. So I guess so we can also make this connection here. But I don't have reference to
How
this.
they are reflected? How they are reflected? Which is tamas?
Sandini, the existence is tamas, and passion is Samvit, knowledge, and Krodini is sattva. Again, no reference for this, but I've heard this many times. You can try to find. There is verse from Vishnu Purana, Hladini, Sandini, Samvit, Tvayate, Sarva, Samsita, Hlada, Tapa, Kari, Nishra, Tvaina, Guna, Varjite. And it says that a Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, you have these three energies, Hladini, Sandini, Samvit, but they are not like the three gunas in the material world, because there is no transformation, there is no suffering, there is no decay. But in the spiritual world, these three energies, they're spiritual. They bring only happiness and spiritual bliss. So that's the only reference I can right now. But there are more. Okay, some.
What is the connection between these three energies, Hladini, Sandini, and Samvit,
and these three?
Future, Dhyana, and Kriya?
Yeah. Not sure. Each Shakti, desire, Jnana, knowledge, Kriya, activity. So Kriya should be Hladini, because you attain rasa by action only, by applied knowledge. And then Sandini should be, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm speculating now.
So, can one make the opposite statement that, okay, we have three gunas in the material world, but because they're a reflection of Samvit, that means that in the spiritual world there are also three gunas, but they're spiritual.
Yeah. And these
One
are
can make
these.
this.
Yeah.
Can make this statement.
But and they are these three energies of the world.
So everything in the spiritual world operates under these three.
Hladini, Sandini, Samvit. Yeah.
Each one energy separated mainly into three.
Yeah. Looks like. But once we get there, we will know more. Very exalted topics. Very philosophical. So let's try to read through the rest of the chapter so that we can finish today. Where are we? Because this energy is different and non-different from the Lord, it is called Sama, according to the Varaha Purana. Because the spiritual Shakti is non-different from Vishnu, as heat is non-different from fire, it is called Svabhaviki in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. According to Amara Kosha, Svarupa, Svabhava and Nisarga have the same meaning. So here the discussion is that the energy of the Lord Shakti, is different and non-different from the Lord, just like fire is different and non-different from heat and light. The same with the sun, and you have the heat and light of the sun. So in the same way, the Shakti is different and non-different. When we say Vishnu Shakti, we make distinction by the power of Vishesha. Though difference between the Lord and His energy is only apparent. For instance, the wise say, existence exists, or time exists at all times. even though there are no real internal distinctions in existence. But can we, so here, existence exists, this is, or time exists at all times. So these two statements are given as an example, how to try to understand how the Lord Shakti and the Lord are the same, but they appear to be different for the sake of rasa, you know that. Because there should be exchange of love and affection. And this takes two. The Mayavadis cannot exchange rasa or the impersonalists with anyone because they think that there is only one thing in existence. There is no second thing, it's just Brahman. But that means no rasa, not really.
Even if we say that there is one thing Brahman,
Yeah.
but even from perspective of Tattva, can you say that Shakti and the Shaktiman, the energy and the source of energy is the same? Is it correct to say this?
The same, yeah, but also not the same because there should be exchange between them. You know, there should be bhakti, there should be Bhagavan, the devotee, and the bhakti. This is devotion service. And the Mayavadis, they have only Nirguna Brahman, which is a nightmare. You are alone. In the whole of existence, it's only you. There's nothing else. Just you.
Prabhupada explains in the third canto that I'm paraphrasing, but the joke is on them because he explains like how the Ekadandi sannyasis, their aim is to be one with God, but the Tridandi sannyasis are the one who are actually becoming one with God because they have oneness in desire.
Mm-hmm.
So even though the Mayavadis try, they cannot do it. But those who are not trying, they're achieving.
Yeah.
So the joke is on them.
And the devotees, they are attaining even higher position than God because they control God. And the Mayavadis try to become God, but the devotees are controlling God. Okay, but can we not say simply that this is the nature of things, to have no internal distinctions? No, rather we call such nature the power of Vishesha. Vishesha is apparent difference, not actual difference. So we say this, we say it's difference in the terms of rasa, but not in the terms of tattva. Tattva is the same. I'm explaining this to the best of my ability, although I personally don't really understand this, but this is what we read here. Without that Vishesha, there could be no condition or distinguishing an object from its quality. This is interesting. So without Vishesha, you cannot distinguish between the object and the energy. Again, the example of the fire or the sun and the light and heat. So if there is no distinction between the object and the energy, the substance and category, then you cannot distinguish. And we can distinguish, right? Between fire and light and heat. Different things, but they are also the same thing. Without that Vishesha, there could not be condition of distinguishing an object from its quality. And we cannot say that existence exists. It's simply an erroneous statement because it can never be cancelled by saying, for instance, a pot exists. Nor it is misidentification, for though we can say the lion is not Devadatta, one can never say existence does not exist. The quality is not different from the object and self-accomplished. Thus, in this explanation, there is no infinite regression which requires a third entity to give a relation between the object and its quality. This non-difference of object and quality is accomplished by the very capacity of the object to hold quality. This is similar to the distinction between the appearance of desire in the Lord to create the universe and his inherent knowledge. The distinction between Icha and Jnana Shakti. Because of this Vishesha which we propound, the condition of object and quality, soul and body, avatar and avatari exist as one in Vishnu. Though they are non-different, Vishesha is the attribute by which one can apprehend them as different. Additional matter on the subject can be taken from other authorized scriptures. Hare Krishna. Then we will continue with chapter 3, which will be more interesting. Description of real avatars, not so much philosophy there. We will understand more about the different leelas of the Lord, which is always very juicy. Okay. Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande.